Now is the time to start main physics. In chapter 3 we will study about the kinematics. So this is the beginning of mechanics, and for the upcoming few chapters you will be discussing about mechanics only. You will be studying about motion. So before we start, let's just quickly discuss about the branches of mechanics. So mechanics is the study of motion, and in motion or in mechanics we will be studying about two main branches. First will be the kinematics, and the second will be the dynamics. So both of these things mean that study of motion. Kinematics means study of motion, dynamics means study of motion. So what is the difference between them? So in kinematics we study the motion without considering the cause. Okay, so it is the study of motion without considering the cause. That is, we do not study why the motion is happening. And in dynamics again we study the motion but also consider the cause. Okay, so in dynamics we also consider the cause of motion, we also study about the reason behind motion. Okay, so you will understand it by an example. So let's say in kinematics you will only study about what is motion, like what is distance, what is displacement, what is speed, what is velocity, what is acceleration, etc. But in dynamics you will study about what causes that motion. For example, force is the reason behind the motion, so you will study about forces, you will study about how the force affect various objects. So this is the difference between kinematics and dynamics. So in chapter 3, okay, in chapter 3 we will be starting with kinematics, that is we will be discussing about the motion without considering the cause. Okay, we will not discuss about the cause of motion. Cause of motion is usually any force. So in chapter 3 rest and motion we will study about kinematics. So let's start with the discussion of the meaning of rest and motion. So what is rest and what is motion? To understand this, let me ask you one question. So my question is, are you at rest right now? Or let's take one example here only. So let's say there is this table, and my question is, let's say there is this box on this table. So is this box at rest or is it moving? Is the box at rest or not? So tell me, what would be the answer? So you might say that the box is at rest. Okay, but how? If you think about it, the box is in a room which is if you look at the box, you will say that yeah, it is at rest. But what about the person who is on the moon? So if someone is on the moon, he will see earth rotating, and if the earth is rotating, that means the box is also moving. So the question is incomplete here. The complete question must be, is the box at rest with respect to a particular frame of reference? Okay, so what is a frame of reference, I will tell you in a moment. So is the box at rest with respect to, let's say the table? So with respect to table, yeah, you can say the box is at rest. Okay, the box is at rest. But is the box at rest, is the box at rest with respect to moon? So obviously with respect to moon the box is not at rest, because the earth is moving, so because of that the answer will be no, the box is not at rest with respect to moon. Okay, so you understood one important concept here, that rest and motion are relative. Rest and motion They are relative. What does this mean, relative? So we cannot just say that the object is at rest or it is moving. We have to take some reference with which we are discussing this. So therefore it is relative. It is relative to something. It is with respect to something, and that with respect to something is called a frame of reference. A frame of reference or a reference frame. So frame of reference, what is a frame of reference? Something through which or by which we compare our state of rest or motion. We compare ourselves with it, whether we are at rest or whether we are at motion. For example, what can be a frame of reference or a reference frame? For example, moon, for example, a room, for example, a table. So anything can be a frame of reference. Okay, anything by which you are comparing your position, your state of rest or motion, that can be considered to be a frame of reference or a reference frame. Okay, so usually when we discuss about motion, we do not specify the frame of reference again and again. We in general take the frame of reference to be, let's suppose, the road through which you are moving, or the earth as the frame of reference. So you do not again and again specify the frame of reference. Okay, sometimes it is quite simple that we do not even mention the frame of reference. Okay, so but just keep this thing in mind, that rest and motion are relative. It is with respect to something, and frame of reference is that something through which we compare our motion. So if something is at rest and something is at motion, then it is necessary that you say that it is at rest or it is at motion with respect to something else. Okay, so this is the most important point about rest and motion, that it is relative to something. So now how can you describe the motion? How can you describe whether you are at rest or whether you are at motion? So for that we need to discuss about speed and velocity. Okay, motion is about speed and velocity, but to understand speed and velocity, we first need to understand about distance and displacement. So our first topic in this chapter will be the difference between distance and displacement, and the meaning of distance and displacement. Okay, so let's first start with distance. So what is a distance? So let's take 2 points. Okay, let's take 2 points. This is the initial point, this is the final point. So you want to go from point A to point B. Now you take this particular path. You could have taken any path, but you took this particular path. Okay, now what is distance? So distance is the actual path that you took. Okay, the length of the actual path that you took. So for example, if you lay some inch tape or something, and you found out that this length of this particular path is, let's say, equal to 7 kilometers, so then the distance will be equal to 7 kilometers. So it is the actual path traversed or traveled by you. Okay, so the actual part traveled by you is called the distance. Now what is displacement? So let's take the same example. Now what would be the displacement in this case? What would be the displacement in this situation when you are going from A to B? So what is displacement? So displacement actually is the shortest path between A and B. So there can only be one shortest path, okay, which is this. So this is distance, and this thing is displacement. So displacement is nothing but the shortest path, between initial and final point. Okay, Yeah, it is also possible that let's say you actually went from A to B via this straight path. So in this case the distance and displacement will be same, okay, because your actual path is also this and the displacement is also this. So sometimes it can happen that the distance and displacement are same. So distance is the actual path traveled by you and displacement is the shortest path which is possible. Okay, now because of this particular thing, distance is a scalar quantity, because you could have taken any possible path. You could have gone like this, you could have gone like this, you could have taken any possible path. So there is not any particular direction that you need to go in. But displacement is a vector quantity. Why? Think about it. Because there is only one shortest path. The shortest path can only be this one. There cannot be any other shortest path. By definition, shortest means the smallest path. So it can only be one. So because of that, you have to go in a particular direction in order to tell about the displacement. So because of that, it is a vector quantity. The direction is also very important. And the third thing is, the distance can only either be 0 or positive. The value of distance can only be 0 or positive, but the displacement can be either negative, 0 or positive. What does this mean? So whenever we have a scalar quantity, so it is just a number. So distance is only a number. So number is considered to be, in general we considered positive numbers only. So distance is 0 or positive. So let's say I want to go from A to B. So minimum distance between initial and final point can be 0. Okay, the initial and final point are at the same position, and let's say I go from A to B. So this is some positive quantity, let's say 2 kilometers. So there can only be positive or 0 values. How can the distance be negative? It does not make any sense. Okay, you cannot have negative distance. But in displacement, because there is some direction, so let's say if you go from A to B, so let's say you consider to be the positive direction. Now if you go from A to B in this direction, so it will be a negative displacement. So positive and negative tells us about the direction. Okay, so as scalar distance is a scalar quantity, therefore only positive sign, and displacement is a vector quantity, therefore negative and positive both signs are there. It tells us about the direction. The important thing is, distance can be greater or equal to the displacement. This is always the case, that distance is always either greater or equal to the displacement. There cannot be any case where the displacement is more than the distance. You can understand it easily because displacement is the shortest path. So there cannot be any case where the displacement is more than the distance. Okay, the shortest path has to be less or equal at least. So when will distance and displacement be equal? When your actual path is a straight line, or when your actual path is equal to the displacement itself, the shortest path itself. Okay, so distance can, usually it is greater than displacement, but in only one situation it is equal to displacement, but distance can never be smaller than displacement. So these are the few points that you need to keep in mind, distance and displacement. Now as we have understood distance and displacement, now we can understand the meaning of speed and velocity as well. Okay, so they are quite similar to this, speed and velocity. So what is the meaning of speed? So speed is the rate of change of distance. Okay, what is speed? Speed is equal to, or we can say speed is the rate of change of distance. And what is velocity? Velocity is the rate of change of displacement. It is the rate of change of displacement. Now it is quite simple now whether speed will be scalar or vector and whether velocity will be scalar or vector. So tell me, will the speed be scalar or a vector? So obviously the speed will be a scalar quantity because distance and time both are scalar quantities. Velocity will be a vector quantity because displacement is a vector quantity. So this means in speed we do not consider the direction, in velocity we consider the direction. Okay, now same thing, speed can be greater or equal to velocity. Okay, that is velocity can never be greater than speed. Same logic is there, and speed can only be either 0 or positive, but it can be either negative, 0 or positive. Okay, so these are quite similar differences as the distance and displacement. So speed and distance are scalar and displacement and velocity are vector quantities. So now we will discuss about the types of speed and velocities. So there are two types of speeds. Speed can be either average speed or instantaneous speed, and similarly velocity can either be average velocity or instantaneous velocity. Okay, so what is the meaning of average velocity and instantaneous velocity and average speed and instantaneous speed? So it is quite simple. When we consider the complete path and complete time, then it is the average velocity or average speed. So average speed is equal to total distance upon total time traveled, and average velocity is the total displacement upon total time. Okay, so it is the complete distance over complete time that is taken place. And what is instantaneous? So instantaneous speed is the speed of any instant. Okay, so it is represented like this. For distance and displacement we'll use s. Okay, so let's use capital S for speed. So ds by dt. So this is distance or displacement. So what is instantaneous speed? Instantaneous speed means the sudden speed, a speed at particular instant. So obviously we cannot we cannot find the speed of a particular instant, because in that case the time period will be 0, because what will be the difference of time between these 2 points? If you go for the let's say if I draw a graph, position and time graph. So if you want to find the speed at this instant, so what will happen? The initial and final point are same, so because of that the time period, initial time period and final time period is also same, so it will be 0. Time period is 0 at any instant. What is the change in the time? 0. Okay, so it will come out to be infinite or it is not defined. So because of that we cannot take just one instant. So because of that we take approximation and we go for a very small time period. Okay, so we take this small time period and we say that this is the instantaneous velocity. So this d represents the small interval, as we discussed in the differentiation part, small interval. Okay, so for small interval, what is the change in the distance, that gives us the instantaneous speed. And similarly here, instantaneous velocity will be equal to instantaneous displacement upon time. In here I am using s for displacement. So instantaneous displacement with respect to time, okay, the velocity at a particular instant, that will be your instantaneous velocity. So we use differentiation for this because we are discussing about small change in position with respect to small change in time, as we discussed in the calculus part in chapter 2. Okay, so just keep these two things in mind, that the average is the total time period, complete time period, and instantaneous is a very small or a short interval of time. So that is the difference between instantaneous and average. So these are the two types of speeds and velocities. Now the next thing that you need to understand is the concept of acceleration. So it is not always the case that the speed or the velocity is same. Okay, your now from now on I will only discuss about velocity. Okay, I will not discuss about speed. So let's say your velocity is not always constant, your velocity sometimes changes. Okay, it can increase or it can decrease. So whenever the velocity changes with respect to time, then we say that you have accelerated. Okay, so what is acceleration? Acceleration is the rate of change of your velocity. Rate of change of velocity. Acceleration is represented by small a. It is a vector quantity again. It is equal to the rate of change of velocity with respect to time. Okay, now again the acceleration is of two type. Let me just write the definition. Rate of, or let me write it like this, change in velocity upon change in time. So the acceleration is again of two types, instantaneous acceleration and average acceleration. In average acceleration we will be discussing about the complete time period, and instantaneous acceleration will be discussing about a small time period. So average acceleration and instantaneous acceleration. So large time interval or complete time interval and a very small interval of time. Okay, so again acceleration, average acceleration is written like this, complete change in the velocity. Okay, let's say initial velocity was v1 and final was v2, so final velocity minus initial velocity and final time minus initial time. And what is the instantaneous acceleration? Small change in the velocity with respect to small change in the time. Okay, so this will give you the instantaneous acceleration. Similar concept. Okay, instantaneous means small time interval, small change in velocity with respect to small change in time. So this will give you the formula for instantaneous acceleration. So till now what you need to remember is that displacement, then velocity, then acceleration. So displacement is the shortest path, velocity is the rate of change of displacement, and acceleration is the rate of change of velocity. So this is the summary for now. Now we know how to describe motion, we know what is the velocity, we know what is the acceleration. So now we can describe motion using certain equations. So when we will in usually we will consider the case where the acceleration is constant. Okay, we will have two cases. One case is when the acceleration is constant, and another case is where acceleration is not a constant. So initially in the few chapters we will be focusing mostly on the case where the acceleration is constant. So when the acceleration is constant, then we have a few equations that are followed. Okay, for a constant acceleration we have a few equations that we can use to describe the motion having constant acceleration. So what are those equations? So those three equations are: first, v equal to u plus at; second, x equal to ut plus half at square; and the third is v square equal to u square plus 2ax. Now let me write the meaning of all the terms. V is the final velocity of the object, u is the initial velocity of the object, x is the displacement of the object, and t is the time period, a is the acceleration of the object, t is the time period of the motion. So these are the three main equations which are only applicable when the acceleration is considered to be a constant quantity, constant value. Now when we consider the situation of gravity, you will understand this topic when you will study about gravity. But when objects are falling only under the influence of gravity, then we say that the object is freely falling. Okay, so what is a freely falling object? Object falling under the influence of gravity. So in this case we change a few things. First we can represent x by h or y because the motion is vertical. Okay, so let's say this is the surface, the object is here, so this can be either y or h. Now the acceleration is small g. You must have studied in class 9 acceleration due to gravity. The acceleration which is given which is due to the force of gravity. Okay, so the value of this is 9.8 meter per second square near the surface of earth. So for acceleration we will use small g. Okay, now one important thing, the direction of acceleration due to gravity is always downwards. Okay, the direction is always downwards. So we can do two things here. We need to take the direction, we need to decide the symbols for the direction. So we can either say that when something is moving up we will consider it to be positive, and when something is moving down we will consider it to be negative. Or the second situation is this, that if something will be moving upward we will consider it to be negative, and something moving downward we will consider it to be positive. So these are the two symbol schemes that you can use. You can use any of this, it does not matter. Okay, it is up to you. So in this case if you consider that if the object is moving up, I will take the symbol to be positive, then in this case what will be the equation of motion? Can you tell me? So the first equation will be v equal to u. Now what will be the sign here? As we have considered upward direction to be positive, so g is always pointing downward, so we will consider it to be minus. Okay, because g is downward. Similarly y equal to ut minus half gt square, again minus sign because g is downward, and v square equal to u square minus 2gy. Now what if we consider it like this? So in this case the equation will be like this: v equal to u plus gt, y equal to ut plus half gt square, and v square equal to u square plus 2gy. Why? Because g is downward and downward direction is positive, so we are taking it to be a positive value. So just decide which scheme you want to use. You can use any of this scheme, okay, and according to that just decide the sign of velocities and acceleration due to gravity, okay. Remember that if the object is moving down, then in this case the velocity will be negative, so put that value to be negative, and in this case if the object is moving down, then put the value of velocity to be positive. So just keep everything in mind while solving the equation. It is quite simple. Once you do a few questions of acceleration due to gravity and free falling objects, you will be able to solve this. You will do this in the chapter gravity, so after that you will study, you will understand it quite better.